The battlefields of World War I were defined by a new, devastating scale of destruction. Relentless artillery fire and clouds of poison gas turned the front lines into a landscape where traditional life could barely persist. The immediate casualty of these new weapons was human machinery itself. Radios failed in damp conditions, telegraph wires were continuously severed by the shelling, and wheeled transport simply sank into the deep mud of shattered landscapes. This chart plots the military response to the mechanical stalemate. To keep the war moving, armies drafted a massive workforce, deploying roughly 14 million animals into the conflict. They were organized by specific roles, carrying messages, hauling supplies, or finding the wounded. In the first truly mechanized conflict in human history, armies found that their ability to keep fighting often relied on these oldest forms of partnership. When artillery barrages cut the telegraph wires, soldiers faced the problem of the isolated front. Trapped units had no reliable way to call for reinforcements or warn command of incoming gas attacks. The military solved this with the carrier pigeon. Flying over battlefields at record speeds and even navigating at night to avoid enemy fire, pigeons carried messages through environments that human runners could not survive. On June 4, 1916, the French army at Fort Vaux found themselves completely pinned down by a heavy German chemical attack. Their last hope was a single war pigeon named Vaillant. Despite being intoxicated by the toxic gas, Vaillant managed to fly through the barrage and deliver a critical SOS message back to French lines. For his actions, Vaillant received the Ring of Honor and was cited in the Order of the Army. He was a rare survivor among the 20,000 pigeons killed during the war. The homing instinct of a bird succeeded where the world's most advanced telecommunications infrastructure had been cut to pieces. Behind the front lines, heavy logistics faced a similar crisis. Modern artillery made traditional cavalry charges suicidal, so horses were rapidly repurposed for hauling munitions and the injured through deep, muddy ruts. The mortality rate for this labor was staggering. Roughly 1 million horses working for the French army alone died doing this work. When the environment became too constrained even for horses, the military turned to the donkey. Donkeys were chosen for their utility in tight spaces. They could carry up to 330 pounds of artillery, while remaining small enough to physically maneuver through narrow, winding trench networks. They proved essential on the Italian Alpine front. Their sure-footedness allowed them to guide soldiers through treacherous snow and vertical ice, where wheels were useless. Yet, despite 300,000 donkeys being deployed for these critical tasks, the military bureaucracy of the time refused to recognize them as official combatants. When combustion engines choked in the mud and ice, muscle and hoof became the only reliable way to keep the army supplied. Down in the localized environment of the trenches, the dog became a formal member of the military, issued its own civil status, a passbook, and an identity disc. Many operated as ambulance dogs. They utilized their olfactory senses to locate injured soldiers buried under rubble, and the military even provided them with custom-fitted gas masks for protection. Stubby, an American bull terrier, survived 17 battles, reached the rank of sergeant, and was awarded the Purple Heart for his service. While the shells fell above, a different kind of pressure built up within the trenches, the infestation of rats, and the contamination of the soldiers' limited food supplies. Armies deployed cats to counter this. By hunting vermin, they protected the soldiers' rations and powdered milk, providing a basic but vital form of sanitation. This also provided a secondary benefit. The presence of a cat anchored the soldiers to a sense of civilian normality, acting as an early form of pet therapy in a landscape of total war. While dogs helped find and rescue the physical bodies of the soldiers, cats provided a small, vital defense against the psychological decay of the trenches. Zooming out from the trenches, the scale of this mobilization is difficult to comprehend. 14 million animals were pulled into a human conflict. The final toll of this labor was catastrophic. Over 1 million horses, tens of thousands of pigeons, and countless dogs and donkeys perished. This sacrifice eventually led to a cultural shift in how militaries remembered animals, leading to the creation of permanent monuments and a place in modern literature. When humanity built a landscape that its own technology could not navigate, it was our oldest companions who ultimately helped us endure it.